The unexpected war. On a warm afternoon in a small town, Maya, a bright and caring 8-year-old girl, walked down the street with her backpack. She had just finished school and was looking forward to playing in the park. As she walked, her mind wandered to the simple joys of life, playing with her friends, laughing in the sun, and eating her favorite peanut butter sandwich. But today, something was different. As Maya turned the corner near the old store, she noticed an older man sitting on the sidewalk. His clothes were torn, and his face looked tired and weathered by time. He was holding a sign that read, "Need food, please help." His eyes were dull, as if he had lost hope. Maya paused for a moment. She had seen homeless people before, but this man seemed different. She looked down at the sandwich in her hand. It wasn't much, just a simple peanut butter sandwich her mother had packed for her. But it was enough for her. She had a full stomach, and she didn't need the sandwich right now. Without thinking much, Maya walked over to the man. He looked up at her, surprised by her presence. "Hi, mister," Maya said softly. "I have a sandwich. Would you like it?" The man blinked in surprise, not sure if he had heard her correctly. You want to give me your sandwich?" he asked, his voice raspy. Maya nodded, smiling brightly. "Yes, I'm not hungry. You can have it." For a moment, the man just stared at her, his eyes filled with gratitude and surprise. "Thank you, little one," he said quietly. His voice trembled as he took the sandwich from her. "You don't know how much this means to me." Maya smiled again, happy to help. She didn't know the man's story, and she didn't need to. She knew that when someone needed help, it was always good to give. The man ate the sandwich slowly, savoring each bite, as if it was the best thing he'd had in days. Maya stood by, watching him. She didn't feel scared or worried. She felt proud, knowing she had made a difference, even in a small way. When he finished, the man looked up at her. "You have a kind heart, little one," he said, his voice still filled with gratitude. "I hope the world has more people like you." Maya nodded. "Thank you. I have to go now, but I hope you feel better soon." As she walked away, Maya felt a sense of joy in her heart. She had done something good today. She had made someone's day a little brighter, and that made her happy. She couldn't wait to tell her parents when she got home. They always told her that kindness was important, and today she had proven it to herself. But what Maya didn't know was that her small act of kindness had set off a chain of events she couldn't have imagined. The homeless man, whose name was James, wasn't just any ordinary man. He was part of something much bigger than Maya could ever have guessed. He was working undercover, trying to help the police catch a dangerous criminal who was exploiting homeless people. James was supposed to be on a secret mission. His task was to watch for signs of human trafficking in the area. But when he met Maya, something changed. She reminded him that there were still good people in the world, people who cared for others without expecting anything in return. As James continued his undercover work, he couldn't stop thinking about Maya. Her kindness had touched him deeply. It was rare to see such genuine goodness in a world that often seemed dark and divided. Later that evening, after his shift was over, James made a decision. He would tell the police about the little girl who had given him food, not because he thought she had done something wrong, but because he knew she had done something right. She had shown him that even in the hardest times, there was still light. Meanwhile, Maya went home, feeling proud of her actions. She didn't think much more about the man or the sandwich. After all, it was just a small thing, something anyone would do. But little did she know, the police would be at her door the next morning, asking questions she wasn't prepared to answer. And so, the world that Maya thought she understood was about to change. The simple act of kindness that seemed so small would soon pull her into a story much bigger than she could ever have imagined. A story filled with surprises, mystery, and an unexpected war that was unfolding right under her nose. The unexpected visit. The next morning, Maya woke up with excitement. The sun was shining, and she was ready to start her day. After breakfast, she quickly put on her favorite dress, tied her shoes, and grabbed her backpack. She was thinking about playing with her friends later and maybe sharing the story of the sandwich with them. However, as she played outside, something strange happened. Around midday, a car pulled up in front of her house. It wasn't the usual car. This one looked like a police car. Maya's heart skipped a beat. Her mom and dad had told her about police officers, but she had never seen one come to her house before. She ran inside and found her mom in the kitchen. "Mom, the police are here," she said, wide-eyed. Her mother looked up in surprise. "The police?" she repeated. "What do they want?" Before Maya's mom could say anything more, there was a knock at the door. Maya's mom wiped her hands on her apron and opened the door. Standing there were two police officers, one tall and serious-looking, the other with a kind face. They looked at Maya's mother and then at Maya, who stood behind her mother's legs, feeling a little nervous. "Hello, Mom," the officer with the kind face said. "We're here to speak with your daughter, Maya." Maya's mother was confused. "Maya, what's this about?" "We'll explain everything," the officer replied, stepping into the house. "It's about something your daughter did yesterday." Maya felt her stomach twist. She had no idea what the officers were talking about. What could she have done that would bring the police to her door? "Maya, could you come here, please?" the officer with the serious face asked. Maya walked slowly toward the officers, unsure of what to expect. Her mother stood by, still looking confused and worried. "Maya," the officer began, "do you remember meeting a man yesterday on the street? The man who was asking for food?" Maya's heart raced. She nodded. "Yes, I gave him my sandwich," she said quietly, her voice trembling. She had no idea why the police were asking about it. The officer nodded. "Thank you for telling us. The man you helped, his name is James, and he's been working with the police. He's been undercover in this area for a special operation. He's trying to help find a criminal who's been taking advantage of people." Maya's eyes grew wide. She had no idea that the man she had helped was part of something so serious. She thought he was just a man who needed food. The officer continued, "Your act of kindness is important. James told us about it, and he mentioned you made a difference in his day. But now, there's something we need to talk about. The man you helped is connected to a bigger situation than we first realized. We need to ask you some questions to make sure you're safe." Maya's mom looked at her daughter with concern. "Is everything all right? Is Maya in trouble?" "No, Mom," the officer with the kind face replied. "Your daughter is not in trouble. But she may have unknowingly been involved in something dangerous. We need to make sure she's safe." Maya felt even more confused now. She had just helped a man who needed food. Why was this turning into something so serious? And why were the police asking her questions? The officer explained, "We believe that James was being watched by someone connected to the criminal we're investigating. It's important that we make sure Maya is not in danger." Maya felt a little scared. She had never been in a situation like this before. Her mind was racing with questions. Was she in trouble? Was her kindness going to cause problems? The officer smiled at her gently. "Maya, don't worry. You did a kind thing. And we want to make sure you stay safe. But we need to know if you saw anything unusual when you met James." Maya thought for a moment, trying to remember what had happened. "I didn't see anything strange," she said. "He was just sitting there, looking tired. He didn't say much before I gave him my sandwich." The officers exchanged glances, and then the kind-faced officer knelt down to Maya's level. "Maya, we're asking these questions because your act of kindness could have unknowingly put you in the middle of something dangerous. We want to keep you safe." Maya nodded, trying to understand. She hadn't realized that her simple act of kindness would lead to all of this. She didn't want to be part of anything dangerous. She just wanted to help someone who needed it. The officers thanked her and promised to check on her and her family. They left, but Maya's mind was spinning. What had she just become a part of? And why was her kind act turning into something so serious? Her mom closed the door behind them, still looking worried. "Maya, "What just happened?" she asked. Maya bit her lip, unsure of how to explain. "I just gave a man my sandwich, Mom. I didn't know he was involved with the police. I just wanted to help." Her mom hugged her tightly. "I know, sweetheart. I know you only wanted to help. But sometimes, even small acts of kindness can lead to big surprises. We'll make sure you're safe." As the day went on, Maya couldn't stop thinking about the police visit. What had she unknowingly gotten involved in? And how would her life change because of it? The answers weren't clear, but one thing was certain. Maya's simple act of kindness had started something much bigger than she ever could have imagined. And the surprises were just beginning. The hidden truth. The next day, Maya couldn't focus. Her mind kept returning to the police visit. She had always been told that doing good things was important, but now it seemed like her simple act of kindness had brought a storm of problems. Maya tried to go back to playing with her friends, but the questions kept swirling in her mind. Why had the man she helped been involved with the police? Why hadn't she known about any of this before? Why was the police car outside her house? Her mother could tell something was bothering her. "Maya, are you okay?" she asked softly, watching her daughter as she stared out of the window. "I don't know, Mom," Maya replied, shaking her head. "I just gave him my sandwich. Why did the police have to come? I didn't know anything was wrong." Her mother took a deep breath and sat down beside her. "I know you didn't, honey. You just wanted to help. But sometimes, even small acts can make bigger ripples than we expect." Maya nodded slowly. She didn't like thinking that her good deed could lead to problems. She wished everything could go back to normal. But she knew it wouldn't. Something had changed. She had no idea how big or serious the situation really was. That afternoon, there was another knock at the door. This time, Maya's mom was a little less surprised. She had already been expecting someone else from the police department to show up. She opened the door to find the same officers who had visited the day before. "Ma'am," the officer with the serious face said, "we need to speak with your daughter again. There's something important we need to tell you." Maya felt a chill run down her spine. What more could they want to know? She had already answered their questions. She hadn't seen anything strange. She had just been kind. The officer noticed Maya's worried expression. "Maya, I understand this is all very confusing, but you may have seen something important yesterday that we need to know about." Maya's mother stepped forward, standing protectively between her daughter and the officers. "What do you mean? What else is there to talk about?" "We need to ask Maya about the man she helped," the officer explained. "He's not just a homeless man. He's been working with the police undercover to catch a criminal." Maya's stomach twisted. She hadn't known. She had no idea her simple act of kindness had been part of something so serious. The officer continued, "The person James was tracking is someone dangerous, and it seems he's been watching him closely. But Maya might have seen something yesterday that could help us catch this person." Maya was shocked. The man she had helped wasn't just a regular person, and now she was being dragged into something much bigger. She had thought it was just a small act of kindness, a simple gesture to help someone in need. She never imagined that it would lead to a serious investigation. "Maya," the officer said gently, "do you remember anything about the man you met? Anything unusual?" Maya thought back to the moment. She had been nervous when she saw the man sitting alone. His clothes were old, and he looked tired. She had wanted to help, so she gave him her sandwich. But was there something she missed? Was there something she had overlooked? "I don't remember anything strange," Maya said, shaking her head. "He just seemed like a man who needed food. I don't know if he was doing something bad." The officers exchanged glances, and the serious officer spoke again. "We understand, Maya. But sometimes the smallest details can help us solve a case. Was there anything about the man that seemed off? Or did anyone else come near him while you were there?" Maya's heart raced as she searched her memory. She thought back to the moment she saw the man sitting on the curb. But everything about that moment seemed so normal. He had been alone. She hadn't seen anyone else nearby. "No," she said quietly. "It was just him. I didn't see anyone else." The officers nodded, but their faces were still serious. "Thank you for helping us, Maya," the officer with the kind face said. "But this isn't over. We'll be watching to make sure you're safe. And if you remember anything, no matter how small, we need you to tell us." Maya stood there, stunned. She had no idea what she could have missed. It had been such a simple thing. She had only given a sandwich to a man who seemed hungry. But now, that small act of kindness had led to a series of events that she couldn't understand. The officers left, but Maya's world felt different now. What had she gotten involved in? Was she safe? Was the man she helped really a part of something dangerous? Later that night, as Maya lay in bed, she kept replaying the day's events in her mind. She thought about the man, about the police, and about the feeling of uncertainty that had filled her since the visit. She wanted to go back to how things had been before, to a time when all she had to worry about was playing with her friends and doing her homework. But she knew things would never be the same again. She had unknowingly stepped into something much bigger, and the questions only seemed to multiply with each passing hour. What was really going on? And how would she be able to handle whatever came next? The unseen danger. The days after the police visit felt heavy, like the air was thicker than before. Maya could hardly think about anything else except the strange turn her life had taken. At school, her friends noticed she was distracted, not her usual self. She smiled and laughed when she had to, but her mind was always elsewhere. That evening, as the sun began to set, Maya's mother called her into the living room. There was a serious look on her face, something Maya hadn't seen in a while. "Maya, I need to talk to you," her mother said. Her voice was soft but firm. Maya sat down, her heart pounding. "Is everything okay, Mom?" she asked, her voice filled with worry. Her mother nodded slowly, sitting next to her. "I've been thinking about everything that happened. You were so brave to help that man. But we need to be careful now." Maya didn't understand. Why? What's wrong with helping him? Her mother sighed, her eyes filled with concern. "Because, honey, the man you helped, he's involved in something more dangerous than we realized." Maya felt a shiver run down her spine. She hadn't thought about it much, but now it seemed so clear. The police hadn't been just checking on the man. They were investigating something big. And Maya had been in the middle of it without even knowing. Her mother continued, "I don't want you to be scared, but I need you to stay alert. If you see anything strange or anyone watching you, you have to tell me immediately. The police will help us if we need it." Maya nodded slowly, her mind racing. She felt scared, but she also felt responsible. She had tried to help someone in need, and now she felt like everything was out of her control. Was there danger following her? Was there more to this than just a homeless man needing food? That night, as Maya tried to sleep, the feeling of unease grew stronger. She lay in her bed, wide awake, listening to every sound outside her window. The wind rustled the leaves in the trees, but every sound seemed amplified. Her mind kept racing. Had she missed something? Had she seen someone else near the man? Why hadn't the police told her more about what was going on? Suddenly, she heard a car door slam outside. Her heart jumped in her chest. Was it someone looking for her? Maya quietly got up and peeked through the window. The street outside was dark, but she could see a car parked near the corner. The headlights were off, and it looked like someone was standing near the car, watching her house. Her stomach turned. She couldn't see clearly enough to know for sure, but something about the figure felt wrong. It wasn't the first time someone had parked in front of her house, but it was the first time it felt this eerie. The figure didn't seem to move, just standing there in the shadows, staring. Maya quickly backed away from the window and rushed to her mother's room. She didn't want to scare her, but something inside told her it was important. "Mom," Maya whispered, shaking her mother gently. "Someone's out there." Her mother sat up instantly, her face tense. "Where? Are you sure?" I saw someone outside my window, Maya said, her voice shaking. They're just standing there. I don't know what they want. Her mother stood up, pulling on her robe. Stay here, Maya. I'm going to check. Maya watched as her mother carefully walked to the front door, her movements cautious. The sound of footsteps echoed in the stillness of the house. Maya could hear her mother opening the door, peeking outside. Maya's heart raced. She wanted to know what was happening, but she couldn't bring herself to look out the window again. What if it was someone dangerous? What if they were watching her right now? Her mother came back into the house a few moments later. Maya, she said, her voice calm but firm, there's no one out there now. It was probably just someone passing by. But you did the right thing by telling me. From now on, we'll keep the doors locked, and I'll be extra careful. You don't have to worry. We're going to be okay. Maya tried to calm herself down, but the fear wouldn't leave. Something wasn't right, and she couldn't shake the feeling that the danger was only just beginning. The man she had helped, the mysterious police investigation, and now someone lurking outside her house. There were too many strange pieces of the puzzle. The next day at school, Maya couldn't focus. She kept glancing around, half expecting to see someone watching her. The feeling of being watched lingered, even when she was surrounded by her friends. But no one seemed to notice. After school, as Maya walked home, she tried to shake off the thoughts racing in her mind. She was halfway down the block when she saw a familiar face. It was the officer who had visited her house. His expression was serious, and he was standing by his patrol car, watching her closely. Maya's heart skipped a beat. What was he doing here? Was something happening again? Had they figured something out? Was she in danger? Maya, the officer called out as she got closer. Can we talk for a minute? Maya hesitated. She didn't want to be involved in anything more. But she knew the officer was there to help, and maybe this time he would tell her more about what was really going on. As she walked toward him, her heart pounded in her chest. She had no idea what was coming next. Would the officer finally reveal the truth? Or was this only the beginning of something much darker? The truth unveiled. The next few days felt like they were dragging on forever. Maya couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. She kept expecting the worst. Every time she heard a car drive past, her heart skipped a beat. Every shadow seemed suspicious. She couldn't focus at school, couldn't enjoy time with her friends, and even the simplest activities felt like they were happening in slow motion. When Maya had seen Officer Daniels outside her house, she didn't know what to expect. He had always seemed like a friendly person before, but now there was an unfamiliar tension in the air. He didn't seem like the kind of officer who would just check on a neighborhood kid for no reason. Later that day, Maya walked home from school, her mind racing. She was halfway through the block when she saw the officer again, this time in a patrol car, parked just a few feet from her house. He wasn't getting out of the car, but he was watching her, closely. It was as if he was waiting for something. Her heart raced, and her palms grew sweaty. Maya had always trusted the police. They were supposed to help people, to protect them. But now, she wasn't sure. After everything that had happened, the visit from the cops, the strange man, the unsettling feeling of being followed, she didn't feel as safe as she used to. When she reached her front door, she stopped. The officer's car was parked right in front of her driveway. She took a deep breath, trying to calm herself. As Maya stepped inside the house, she was startled by a soft knock at the door. She opened it slowly, not knowing who to expect. To her surprise, it was Officer Daniels. "Maya," he said, his voice calm but serious. "Can I come in? We need to talk." Maya stepped aside to let him in, unsure of what this conversation would be about. Her mother was in the kitchen, making dinner, so Maya led the officer to the living room. "Maya, I'm sure you're wondering why I'm here again," Officer Daniels started. He sat down on the couch, looking serious. "And I'm sorry if this is making you uncomfortable. But I need to tell you something important." Maya's heart pounded in her chest. She nodded, trying to hide her anxiety. Earlier this week, when the cops came to your house, Officer Daniels continued, we were looking into something much bigger than just a random homeless man. We thought you were involved because you were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Maya's stomach twisted. She was confused and scared. What do you mean? I didn't do anything wrong. I was just helping someone. The officer paused, and his expression softened slightly. I know, Maya, and I need you to know that you didn't do anything wrong. But the man you gave food to, he's not who he said he was. We discovered that he was involved in something illegal, something dangerous. We're still working on it, but we had to make sure that you were safe, just in case. Maya was stunned. She had never imagined that something as simple as giving a sandwich to a stranger could lead to all of this. But what do you mean? What was he involved in? We don't have all the details yet, Officer Daniels said carefully. But we know that he was a part of a group involved in organized crime. We didn't want to alarm you, but we needed to make sure that you weren't being targeted because of your act of kindness. Maya could feel her hands trembling. This was so much more than she had expected. The man she had helped, the one she thought was just a hungry stranger, was connected to something far more dangerous. She had no idea what kind of trouble she might have brought upon herself just by being kind. I don't understand, Maya said, her voice barely a whisper. Why me? Why did he choose me to help? Officer Daniels looked at her carefully, his eyes full of sympathy. It's not about you, Maya. He probably didn't expect someone to notice him, especially not someone like you. But he's connected to people who could do a lot of harm if they find out what you know. Maya could hardly breathe. The fear, the confusion, the disbelief. It all felt like it was too much to process. She had just been trying to help someone who was hungry. How had it all gotten so complicated? I want to keep you safe, Officer Daniels said, breaking her thoughts. From now on, we'll have extra patrols in this area. And if you see anything suspicious or feel uncomfortable, I want you to call me directly. Do you understand? Maya nodded, though it was hard to focus. She felt like the ground beneath her feet was shifting, and she was struggling to keep up. Thank you for telling me, she said, her voice shaking. I didn't know any of this. I thought I was just helping someone in need. I know you did, the officer said with a reassuring smile. And that's why we're going to keep an eye on things. You did the right thing by helping him. But now we need to make sure you're safe. As Officer Daniels left, Maya's mind was spinning. Everything she had thought she knew had just been turned upside down. She had done something good, but it had led her into a world of danger she didn't understand. The next few days were quiet, but Maya couldn't relax. Every time she saw a car pass by or heard a sound outside her window, she felt a twinge of panic. Was someone watching? Was someone coming for her? The world felt different now. Maya couldn't look at things the same way again. The simple act of kindness had changed everything, and there was no going back. The growing threat. Maya sat at her desk, staring at her homework, but her mind was elsewhere. Her pencil hovered above the paper, and the numbers and words blurred together. She couldn't focus. The thoughts in her head kept spinning in a whirlwind of fear, uncertainty, and confusion. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw that man, the one she had helped, standing in the alley, his eyes cold and calculating. What had she really gotten herself into? That night, as Maya lay in bed, her phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen. It was a message from Officer Daniels. He had been checking in on her since their last conversation. But this time, the message was different. Maya, I need to speak with you. Something has come up. Please call me as soon as you can. Her stomach tightened. What was going on? Why was he being so urgent? She quickly dialed his number, her heart racing. It rang once, then twice, before Officer Daniels picked up. Hey, Maya. Listen, I need you to be careful, he said, his voice tense. We've learned some new things. The group your friend was involved with. They know you helped him. We think they're looking for you. Maya's breath caught in her throat. What do you mean they're looking for me? Why? I didn't do anything wrong. I know you didn't, Officer Daniels replied quickly. But when you helped him, you connected yourself to a bigger situation. There are people who don't want anyone knowing about their operations. They'll go to extreme lengths to silence anyone who might be a threat to them. And right now, you're a potential target. Maya's mind raced. She had never imagined something like this happening. She was just a kid, doing a good deed for someone who looked like he was in need. Now her act of kindness had made her a target of dangerous criminals. She never asked for this. She just wanted to help. I'll be fine, won't I? She asked, her voice trembling. You said I'm safe here, that you're watching out for me. I'm doing everything I can, Maya, Officer Daniels assured her. But you have to stay alert. Don't go anywhere by yourself. If you see anything suspicious, call me immediately. And don't trust anyone who seems out of place, okay? I'm going to have extra patrols in your neighborhood, but you have to be cautious too. Maya nodded, though she felt a knot tighten in her stomach. She didn't know who to trust anymore. Everyone seemed like a potential threat now. The simple life she had known before had vanished, replaced with a constant sense of dread and uncertainty. As she hung up the phone, she glanced out her window, scanning the dark street below. Her eyes darted from one shadow to the next, her mind playing tricks on her. Every movement seemed suspicious. Every sound felt amplified. She couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching her. The next day, Maya walked to school with her best friend Sarah. Sarah noticed the tension in her walk, the way she kept looking over her shoulder. Maya didn't want to worry her friend, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Maya, what's going on? You've been acting so strange lately, Sarah asked, concern in her voice. Are you okay? Maya hesitated. She didn't want to tell Sarah the whole truth. She didn't want to scare her, but she also couldn't hide it forever. After a moment of silence, Maya spoke quietly. Sarah, I helped a homeless man the other day. I gave him some food. And now, things are getting weird. The cops came to my house. They said the man was involved in something dangerous. And now they think someone is after me. Sarah's eyes widened in shock. Wait. What? You're in danger? Maya nodded, feeling the weight of the situation press down on her. Yeah. The police are trying to protect me, but I don't feel safe. I don't know who I can trust anymore. Sarah put a comforting hand on Maya's arm. Don't worry, Maya. We'll figure this out together. You don't have to go through this alone. But Maya wasn't so sure. The fear that had been growing in her chest only intensified with each passing moment. What if Sarah was wrong? What if this was something she couldn't escape? Later that day, Maya walked home alone, even though she knew she shouldn't. Officer Daniels had told her to avoid being alone, but she felt trapped. She needed to get out, to breathe, to clear her head. The weight of it all was suffocating her. As she turned the corner near her house, she froze. The dark van was parked just a few houses down the street. There were no other cars around. It was too quiet. Maya's heart started to race, and her breath came faster. She tried to stay calm, but everything inside her screamed for her to run. She turned and started walking quickly, trying to keep her head low. But her feet felt like lead. Was she being followed? She dared to look over her shoulder. The van was still there, and two men in dark clothes were standing near it, talking to each other. She didn't recognize them. Maya's heart pounded in her chest. She knew she had to get home, but she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. Every instinct told her to hurry, to get inside, but the fear was overwhelming. The shadows seemed to stretch farther, and the streetlights cast eerie glows along the sidewalk. When she reached her front door, she slammed it behind her and locked it as quickly as she could. She leaned against the door, her body shaking from head to toe. Was she safe? Was she really safe? Or had she just walked straight into the path of something much worse than she could ever imagine? As the night dragged on, Maya couldn't shake the thought that the worst was yet to come. The fear and uncertainty were more real now than ever. The danger was closing in, and Maya had no idea how to stop it. The shocking truth. Maya couldn't sleep. The fear gnawed at her, pulling her deeper into a dark spiral. Every creak of the house, every rustle outside, made her heart race. She kept replaying the scene in her mind. Those two men by the van. They didn't belong there. She didn't know why they were watching her, but she could feel it. She was being hunted. The weight of the situation felt like it was closing in on her, suffocating her with each passing moment. She tried to tell herself she was overreacting, that maybe the men weren't following her, but something deep inside told her otherwise. And as she sat in her room, staring at the ceiling, trying to convince herself that everything would be fine, her phone rang. It was Officer Daniels again. Maya. His voice was urgent, strained. You need to listen to me carefully. I've learned something. Something I didn't expect. Maya's pulse quickened. What? What is it? Is it about the men? The van? Yes, he answered, sounding tired but focused. But it's worse than I thought. I found out who they are. They're not just criminals. They're part of something much bigger. A gang that's been involved in human trafficking for years. They've been using people like that homeless man to lure in kids for horrible things. And now you've caught their attention. Maya felt her stomach drop. Wait, so the man I helped, he's involved in that? He was a part of all this. Officer Daniels sighed. I'm afraid so. And I think the gang saw your kindness as a weakness. They've been watching you, waiting for a chance to get close to you. I didn't want to scare you, but I need you to understand the danger. This is bigger than just one bad man. It's an entire network that won't stop until they get what they want. Maya couldn't process the words. Her head spun with shock and disbelief. The man she had helped, the one who looked so lost and hungry, was tied to something so terrible. And now, because of one simple act of kindness, she was in the middle of something she couldn't escape. What do I do now? She asked, her voice trembling. I didn't ask for any of this. I know, Officer Daniels said softly. But the only thing you can do now is stay safe. I've arranged for someone to stay with you. It's not safe for you to be alone. I'm sending a trusted colleague to watch over you until we can figure out what to do next. Maya nodded, although the feeling of helplessness still gnawed at her. She didn't know how to protect herself from something so dangerous. She was just a kid, a girl who had done the right thing, who had helped someone in need. How had it all gone so wrong? I'll be here soon, Officer Daniels added. Just stay where you are. Don't go anywhere alone. We'll catch these people, Maya. I promise. As the call ended, Maya sat in silence, staring out the window at the dark street. Her mind raced with questions. She had done the right thing by helping the man, hadn't she? Why did kindness have to lead to such danger? Why did she have to pay for trying to make the world a little better? Minutes later, there was a knock at the door. Maya's heart skipped a beat. She wasn't expecting anyone. She stood frozen for a moment, her body tense with fear. Her first instinct was to check the peephole, but she quickly realized that wasn't going to help. Whoever it was could easily be one of the men she had seen earlier. Who is it? She called out, trying to steady her voice. It's Officer Daniels, came the reply. Maya's breath released in a rush of relief. She opened the door cautiously, making sure to peek out before stepping aside to let him in. Officer Daniels looked tired, his uniform disheveled, as if he had been rushing around all day. But there was something about his eyes, a kind of determination that reassured her, even in the face of everything. I'm here to make sure you're safe, he said, stepping inside. I've got someone coming to help keep an eye on the area. We're not taking any chances. Maya nodded, though she still felt a knot in her stomach. She had never felt so vulnerable. She had thought that she was just helping a stranger, a man in need. But now, the world felt so different, so much darker. Officer Daniels turned to her. Maya, I need you to know something important. It's not just about protecting you. We're going after them. We're going to bring this whole network down. But we need your help. Maya looked up, confused. How could I help? I don't even know who these people are. You helped us see the link between them, Officer Daniel said. Your act of kindness brought their attention to you, but it also brought us closer to uncovering everything. They'd been operating in the shadows for so long, and now we have a lead. It's going to take time, but we're going to stop them. Maya swallowed, trying to process what he was saying. Could she really be part of something so important? Could her small act of kindness lead to something as big as this? She didn't know what the future held, but one thing was clear. She wasn't going to let fear control her. She had made a difference once, and she was determined to do it again. The next morning, she stood by the window, watching as police cars gathered at the end of her street. It was just the beginning, but she was ready. The danger was real, but so was the hope of making things right. She had started this journey with a simple, selfless act, and now she was going to finish it, no matter what it took. She had a purpose now, and she wasn't going to back down.